Hello and welcome to Grocer Pod. My name is Sean Kosednar. I'm joined in the studio today by AWG's Vice President of Meat and Seafood, Heather DeLuca. Before we get to Heather, I want to remind you to please subscribe to Grocer Pod. Subscribing means new episodes will be downloaded for you automatically. You can find Grocer Pod on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or whatever platform you use. Heather, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So I hear you just got back from the annual meat conference. Can you tell me a little bit about that event and what was covered?
Yes. So the annual meat conference is fantastic, and it's known as the Meat Industry Event of the Year. It's sponsored by FMI and NAMI, and this year was in Nashville. And what was exciting is it broke a record as the highest attended annual meat conference in the history. There were over 2,400 attendees, ranging from retailers to vendors and industry experts. And there was over 30,000 square feet in the exhibit hall, filled with vendors and all their innovative ideas. And it's such an impressive event. It's similar to AWG's Innovation Showcase, but focused on all things meat. And so the event, several days of impactful learning, networking, and planning for the future. And if any AWG members would like to learn more, you can look up meatconference.com. Next year is going to be once again in March, and it'll be in sunny Orlando, Florida. The highlight for me and most that attend is Anne Marie's of 210 Analytics Power of Meat presentation, which those that attend get exclusive access to. Her findings are just incredible. They bring together a mix of proprietary research from shoppers and industry data and the trends to help guide us all in our growth strategies.
So I know that there's going to be great information that you're going to share about the things that you learned, but the thing that I want to know, and that I'm sure our listeners really want to know, what's the best thing that you ate while you were at this conference? Because I know there had to have been samples.
All the beef. All the beef. Yes, lots of amazing meat.
So what were some of the trends that you heard about during the Power of Meat? What was your key takeaway?
So despite what we continue to hear, we hear lots of noise in the meat industry all the time about vegetarians and flexitarians. Consumers love meat. The industry has now reached $99 billion in annual sales across the U.S., and 98% of households purchase meat. Meat's key to our success, retailer success, and just want to remind everybody how important it is. But the meat shopper's evolving. It's been evolving for quite some time. And this latest Power of Meat really illustrated some of those changes. And we have to change our merchandising to meet the needs of that shopper. Meat sales and volume had a very nice bump during COVID, combined with inflation. And now we're seeing some challenges across the industry and across the U.S., and it's the time for change. So what we learned, total food price across the entire grocery store is up 32% since 2019. And meat's up 27% since 2019, so pretty similar. So although in some of the more recent data, we might not be seeing inflation as high as we did, the takeaway is that shoppers are strapped with their grocery budgets and value is top of mind. And so when we talk about value, a lot of times we think value just means the cheapest price. And what we have to remember is value means something different to everybody. And so it's not only just about low price. Value might mean quality. Value might mean convenience. Value might mean health and label claims. And what we see is at the top of the meat consumer decision tree consistently is price and quality. And that is just something that we have to keep top of mind when we're making decisions on our merchandising. A few of the takeaways are really, the first one I'll talk about is about balance. And so a balanced approach across the proteins is so important. You know, when beef pricing gets high, it's so easy to back off of beef, or not easy, but sometimes that's the direction we go and focus on pork and poultry, which is fantastic from a price per pound perspective. But the dollar sales will not come if we steer too far away from beef. So it's really about a balanced approach to win. And younger shoppers, they're engaging the highest with poultry, and we've seen that for quite some time. So we have to continue to find new ways to engage those shoppers with beef and pork. And, you know, you go out to eat at a restaurant, and those are what are on the menu. And so how do we take some of those restaurant learnings and maybe create some excitement with those younger shoppers? Additionally, there's just this continued opportunity to drive meat trips and units through cross-merchandising and secondary displays. One thing that was really interesting is that in-store signage is now the number one driver with promotional purchasing. Previously, it was all about the paper circular. So in 2015, the paper circular drove 70% of that. It's now down to 35%. So really interesting. We know that, the print ad is still important, but just that importance continues to get smaller. It's important to win the occasion. We talk about meat being so important to a retailer's results, and it's center of the plate, center of our celebrations, and just another opportunity to make sure that all those occasions, we're winning them. We're winning them through our promotions and our merchandising and really working to get those incremental purchases in the basket. Another fun fact, 80% of meals are prepared at home. We all know it's so much more affordable to cook at home versus eat out. So that's just a reminder that we have to continue to find those solutions and make sure our merchandising matches creating solutions for our shoppers. 60% of shoppers spend under 30 minutes on dinner preparation during the week. So there's just such an opportunity as we think about whether it's grinds or smaller cuts, or we hear a lot about a hybrid approach now to meal preparation. So no more cooking from scratch. Labor challenges in store remain, not a new topic. But what is new is that we continue to see the shoppers that believe that case-ready meat is as good or better than meat cut in store increase. The latest number was 87% of shoppers now believe case-ready meat is as good or better than meat cut in store. No surprise, this is driven by millennials and Gen Z, and their buying power continues to grow.
That's really interesting to me that the adoption of case-ready meat, because it seems like all the stores that I work with, are really hyping their butcher counters and stuff. And so what do you attribute some of that to?
I think that when we think about case-ready meat, it doesn't have to be a all or nothing. And so it's really what we're seeing more of is a hybrid approach where you still have a butcher and you still have a butcher that's there for that specific need that the shopper's requesting. But the challenge becomes that butcher's not there all the time. And so out of stocks and the lost sales attributed with out of stocks are where a case-ready solution can really fit in. So I always suggest more of a hybrid approach and that seems to be where we've seen a lot of success. But great question.
That makes a lot of sense to me. When you were talking about value, I was thinking about myself because I'm a millennial and I just think about myself all the time. When I'm buying meat, what I look for in value is quantity, because if I'm cooking one piece of meat, I might as well cook four. And even if it is just, the two of us in my family, because then I can eat it later. Am I in line? Am I out of line? How do I compare to most shoppers, do you think?
It's almost like you read the Power of Meat report, but I know you didn't because I don't think I gave you access. But one of the trends that we do see from younger shoppers is leaning towards value packs and bulk packs. And that's also very interesting because for a while, there's been this discussion around smaller households and smaller packages, but that's exactly why. It's this meal prepping, cooking, having lots of leftovers. And so just a great call out that package size and variety of package size is important. So.
Well, not only am I unique, but I'm also a part of the crowd, another typical millennial trait. What guidance do you have for AWG members as they look to grow their meat business?
So one thing I would just talk about is this play on health, right? Which, although we've talked about low price and quality, health is still and will remain top of mind, especially going back to what the younger shopper cares about. So I wanted to talk a minute about protein. I feel like we let all these other departments across the store win in this protein claim space. And just a reminder that protein is meat's superpower. And shoppers want to see protein highlighted on packages. So starting to think about merchandising. And then just final thought would be, we we continue to see data that shows us that supercenters and club stores are gaining share from supermarkets. Talked about a lot of opportunities we identified from the Power of Meat report, and the Power of Meat report is basically a playbook on, where we were, where we're at now, and where we're going as an industry. We're here to partner with our members and address those challenges together. So if there's anything specific that anybody's looking for, please reach out. And thanks for the discussion today.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Heather. That was very insightful, and I think our members will get a lot from it.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe to Grocer Pod. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest things going on around AWG. And until next week, this has been Sean Kosednar for Grocer Pod.